Hey everyone, I'm Carlie. My pronouns are they, them. I am a cross stitcher and this is my FlossTube. As I referenced in my previous video, I hope that I would be joined by a special guest today. And as you can see, that is the case. Who are you?
Hi everyone, my name is Shelby. My pronouns are she, her. I am a stitcher as well, as of now. Newly a cross stitcher, and many other things that maybe I'll touch on. I am also Carlie's partner, and that's sort of how I came to the craft and to this video.
So, what is FlossTube in your understanding?
Well, my understanding has definitely developed over the past year or so. It's, cross-stitch vlogging.
Let me ask this. What was your first impression of FlossTube versus how you feel about it now?
I would say my first impression was, why are these videos so long? And then now I sometimes think that, but I think I've gotten a greater appreciation for the function of FlossTube in terms of like sharing your work and building community and also giving people something to watch and listen to while they stitch and or fall asleep.
Yes.
Which is not bad. I think it like calms me down now. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Are there any FlossTubers who you recognize or like or?
I recognize a lot of them. I don't know all of their names. And so we won't share. Sometimes I'm like, the one with the, I have some
special nicknames.
Some internal nicknames that I've been using. But yeah, I definitely have like grown to like a lot of FlossTubers and like, wanted to watch their videos. I feel like there are a few now that if they have a new video come out, I like ask you to wait to watch it until we're together.
How long have you been stitching?
I was trying to remember that. I think I started in January
of this year.
Of 2024, because of a Christmas gift you got me, which if we want, we can jump into FOs.
Yeah,
just stands for finished object. No.
So, yeah, I think you had started, I was stitching around Shelby for a while. We've been dating for like a year and a half. Yeah. And I started bringing my stitching over.
Pretty early on.
Yeah, she has to know. And never was like, oh, do you want to try? I just was like, this is just what I'm doing. I started introducing FlossTube into our, viewing queue. And it did help Shelby fall asleep initially, so that I got to keep watching it, which is nice. And then after the events in October, I know you were, I'm not on social media anymore really, but Shelby is, and I think you were not only aware of like so many things that were happening and movements and groups and actions and things like that, but also started learning about trees. Yeah. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, I would say like I over time started to see, when I was like around you stitching, be like, oh, that's cool, or like I would see a pattern that you were working on or that someone else shared online, and find it pleasing to my eye, and start to be like, oh, maybe because I think we have a little bit of different tastes, like we have different tastes for different people, and so I started to see more like patterns and like discover like around being that were like more my taste and aesthetic, and to be more curious about, oh, maybe I would be interested in doing that. And then I think I was learning a lot more. I've learned a lot more about Palestinian culture in the past 7-8 months that we've sort of been remotely witnessing a genocide. So a important part of that for me has been, not only witnessing suffering, but also learning more about Palestinian culture and history. And so I became, learned about tatrees and was like, Carlie, look, like there's this, tatrees, which is traditional Palestinian embroidery. And, you know, it has a lot of similarities with cross stitch in terms of like how the embroidery is done, like often in X's. It's more customary to use like pearl cotton, and there's obviously differences, but like many, you know, regions and countries in the world, like there's a embroidery and cross stitch tradition. So I think that's like something I sort of brought to Carlie as like a, you know, a commonality and something to discuss. Mm-hmm. And then, I could talk about my first pattern then. Or okay. Yeah. So in terms of my finishes, so my first little project, I guess like in terms of, I'm like I can talk about more of this as I go, but I've done like sewing in the past. Like as a child, I like learned to use a sewing machine, like took classes here and there. As a few years ago as an adult, I like tried to get back into like garment sewing, and I think bit off a little bit more than I can chew and realized it maybe wasn't for me. But so I've like done some like fiber based and like stitching based crafts before, but had never tried cross stitch itself. So for Christmas this year, I guess I'd probably said like, I would try that, or like I would be interested in trying cross stitch.
Well, I remember you were like, have you heard of Tatriz and Tea? And I was like, yes, Nithya from Daybreak Stitchery, who I mention in every single video. I was made aware of Tatriz and other like stitchers, Palestinian stitchers. Jordan Nasser, I think, was the first one. Then again, Nithya brought that to my attention probably years ago at this point. But so I was like, oh yeah, like I've heard of that. Let's watch these videos from Nithya. This is my friend Nithya. And this is FlossTube. But the one website that Nithya had mentioned, and do you have the name?
Tirzane Initiative.
Thank you. So I'd heard of that from Nithya, and it's a library of traditional motifs from it's specifically Palestinian.
Yeah,
from Tatriz. Yeah. Okay, yeah, but it has information about like the region it came from, and like a lot of different pieces of info.
Yeah, it has like historical information, and a lot of Tatriz motifs are associated with different villages and cities in Palestine. Like so it has like that sort of information, also like what the historical references are, and it's like a beautiful free like archive and library of motifs and patterns.
And I was hoping to like I had sort of started thinking like, oh, I would love to give Shelby like a beginner cross stitch kit for Christmas. Like I think that would be an easy like intro, and then if she doesn't like it, like she hasn't, you know, purchased all these materials or anything. And then she started talking to me about Tatriz, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can make like a little kit with that. So I looked at the website and I found like a small, just like a 2-color motif that I thought would be approachable, and put together a little kit with floss, all the colors of the Palestinian flag, a little hoop and some Aida and a needle.
Yes, it was very cute.
Okay. Yeah. One thing that a lot of people were doing, and I think this is something that the like craftivism movement has started to do a better job of as well, is like...
Did you say craftivism?
Craftivism. Like, we're not just stitching something that says like Black Lives Matter and like leaving it at that. Like, okay, what else are we doing? There wasn't anything on the Tirzane Initiative's website, a space to donate. At the time, it was unclear if aid was actually getting into Gaza. So I donated to, in Shelby's name as part of her gift, I donated to the Museum of the Palestinian People, which is located in Washington, D.C. So that's like a culture preservation group or institution. And the other one was the Palestinian Youth Movement, which they are an international organization, and they are like organizing lots of actions and protests and sit-ins and all kinds of things so that you know, the message is not lost, and that it's still kept like kind of in the public eye, and they've been around since before October. But it was a lot to say. Here's Shelby's birds.
No, yeah, and I was like, we should check before posting, like, if Tirzane is accepting donations now, or I also know like a lot of my donations since then have like shifted more towards like there's a lot of mutual aid sort of on the ground, especially in Egypt, for families that are and individuals fleeing Gaza who have, and then also fundraising for families who are looking to exit Gaza, which has been, you know. Oh, this is Reba, by the way. She's upset by genocide. So yeah, like I've started my gifts to friends for friends' birthdays this year. I've started to be, you know, like give to a GoFundMe and then, you know, put it in a card, and so recommend that for anyone trying to put their money to good use. But I think I've also seen, yeah, like across as I've started to engage more with like cross-stitch social media, like people doing fundraisers with patterns, like many designers have done that. So there's a lot of ways to get we don't need to tell people how to get involved. We're late to the game with this. So
you guys know.
Anyway, in January, I stitched this motif that it was Carlie actually wrote out the pattern on a little piece of graph paper and like put it in a little card and made me a little kit. So this one, I think it's like references like the birds, and we can, I don't know, do you link stuff? Is that what people do?
Yeah, we can link it. Yeah. I've stopped because I got lazy, but I can definitely link that.
I would like to link it. Yeah. Yeah, because I think it also mentions like the region. It's from, and it's a, you know, it's a motif that I've now seen pop up, and, you know, like I think is in a lot of cross stitch. So it was cool to sort of understand its origins in that way. But yeah, it was my first little piece. I got to learn about stitching with black, which I don't like that much. And that was important to know that. I'm glad I didn't like do that later. I'm glad to just did it first. And it was very cute little, but it was like a really good intro. I did it in an evening or two, and it was fun to learn about. Oh yeah, now I'm like looking at my back and disgusted, but I would never judge someone else's. I just would judge my own. Anyway, so that was my first.
And that's on like 18 count Aida or 24 count Aida?
It's whatever you handed me.
Yeah, it's on Aida.
It's on Aida.
And it's DMC.
It's DMC. Yeah, it's maybe 18 or. Did you give me 18 to start with?
18 or 24, I don't know, whatever one I had, and I didn't measure it.
Cool. And then do you want to do one of your finishes?
Nope, let's do yours because I just have two.
And you have Reba.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I was like, okay, let's do more. And Carlie, I think one of the great things is like you said, you gave me that like little startup kit. And also, you know, because you have so many supplies, it's been like a low barrier entry and like low cost entry to a hobby. I think I am someone that has like cycled through hobbies over the years. So like be into something for a year, 6 months, spend a bunch of money, and then I'll have all the supplies for something I'm not really into anymore. And that was something I really didn't want to do this time around. Just I'm trying to be more, like, especially over the past few years, just more conscious of my spending and like consumption. So this has been really great because you've just sort of let me like have, you know, pieces here and there from your stash to get started and like practice and figure out what I like. So then you told me about the free patterns on DMC's website, and how we feel about DMC as a company is like, whatever. You know, it's like back and forth. Oh, yeah. And like, there's follow To Trees and Tea on Instagram for more information on DMC's like response to the genocide in Gaza, and for more information. Anyway, but they had a fun free pattern. I think I was looking at patterns. I was sorting them for like easy beginner patterns. There were some where Carlie was like, "Don't try to do that yet," in a nicer way. And so I did these little cherries, which are just very cute. I will say I haven't fully finished anything yet. Because I don't know how. I mean, I know there's many ways to do that and many objects you can make or stick things on. And also I just like the stitching part. There are many things I'm like, oh, I would like to display that in the home somehow. Reba's done. But anyway, yeah, these are all just like, I haven't ironed anything either, which I realized as we were starting, and now I feel...
We don't iron here.
I would probably eventually iron.
Okay. I don't iron here.
I would probably like to wash and iron some things. Anyway, here are some little cherries that I did like in a day or two. And they're very cute.
Yeah, so that's using the other colors of the kit that I made for Shelby.
Oh yeah, I started out just with like black, red, and green, and it felt, you know,
that peanut butter?
There's peanut butter on it as well. Yeah. So
okay, cool.
That's also something I am trying to work on not eating while stitching, but
who has time for that?
But I think that's why you wash and iron it then, because then there's not peanut butter on it anymore. Or it's like a fun memory.
Yeah.
Or someone will find this in like 200 years and be like, wow, they ate peanut butter back then.
Okay. I can take your finishes.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
So,
I don't. Do you want to talk now, or do you want to do one of yours?
Sure.
Maybe I'll do three, and then you do one.
Do three, then we'll space them out like that.
I've just been going, and also I've done a lot of smalls.
Yeah.
As they call them. Whoever they are, all of you. So I've done a lot of smalls. This third one, I think, was like my first experience with getting overly ambitious and not thinking things through. Not my first experience in my life, obviously.
First extremely humbling.
First experience in, I do that, like once a week that happens where I'm like, oh, I didn't plan for that correctly. But so this pattern is Tea of Halloween
by Fairy Wool in the Woods, which you may recognize.
I was gonna say that.
Sorry, I got excited because I've done it before, and I was like, do you want to stitch some of my patterns? So I brought some over, and then you did.
Yes. So I am calling this, what, can you just like finish for now? That's a thing.
An FFN.
Excuse me, an FFN.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one, and like I like the colors, and it was like I got to try out new stuff. I'll just show you this is like what I've done on this larger pattern, is just these two motifs and none of the writing. I just did a little teapot and the cup and the spider, but I did this one. This might be like a larger.
Yeah, it might be 14
count.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of a nice off-white, yellowy. And so I did 14 count, which I think I found probably, I was like, it was easier to like see, but I don't necessarily love the look of as much.
Well, the other two were 2/1, strands. What is this one? It looks thicker.
This is 3/1, and that was my first experience with using 3 strands, which I also, I think, got annoyed by not being able to loop start. Like, it was also my first time using more than 2 colors. It was like, I think I did all of it at once, which honestly had to happen, and I'm glad I got to figure out, like, oh, what do I find frustrating?
It was a jump.
It was a bit of a little bit, but in terms of detail and the number of color changes, like, looking at this now, I'm like, oh, me in February, like, she was so simple. But no, it's really cool to, like, see in terms of, like, what seemed insurmountable or, like, too challenging back then. But this was a cool experience because, one, I got to, like, learn more about, using different numbers of strands and, like, how does that affect the look. I like how chunky it is, but I think it's sort of, even, like, a few months later, I'm like, I would have rather done, like, an 18 count, and it just would look more maybe my style. But am I hitting it? I'm really emphasizing on this chair. I put this on. I'm sorry. That was a joke. We're sitting on the floor.
It's so neat.
It's very, yes.
That was probably hard too with the 3 strands. And that but you also did backstitch for the first time?
That's what I was going to say.
And what are these?
Okay. Give me a moment.
Sorry.
So I also then, the reason I was like, okay, I'll do these 2 motifs, I got to do backstitching on the spider, like the little web and the legs, and then on the snake's tongue, and then I got to do 2 French knots, which, as Carlie was showing, like, or on the back, this is where I was practicing, watching, like, a YouTube tutorial, learning how to do them, which was fun. I have not done any since, but one of my whips has a few in it, so I'll get to practice again someday. But yeah, so I got to, practice first time backstitching, first time doing French knots, and then I was like, actually, I feel excited about trying something else. So I said, I'm going to finish this one for now and move on. I think it'd be cool to maybe do a border around this eventually and, like, put it in a little frame. or make it a little Halloween pillow. But for now, it's gonna sit because it's not a high priority, but it's very cute.
Yeah. Okay. You want to take a little break and then I'll...
Yeah, I talked a lot.
Cool. I got your next pattern
Thanks.
ready.
Ready.
Okay, so I have 2 finishes. So yay!
When did you last do a video?
It was a finish parade. I did a whip parade in July and then a finish parade in like December, January maybe.
Yeah.
March? I don't remember. I do them semi-quarterly. So, anyway, this is Butterfly Garden by The Blue Flower. And I've been working on this one since 2022, I believe. And I finished it. Yay!
Gorgeous.
It's on 32 Count Lugana from a Fortnite Fabric Club. So it's like a light blue. And it's the DMC conversion. These like flowers here, they also had like more colors in them, but I said no thank you and just left them like that. This was like, I think I got this because it was on sale one time many years ago before I sort of knew what my stitching style was. I do think it's a beautiful pattern. I don't think I would stitch something like this ever again. I'm not like, I like butterflies, but like that's a lot of butterflies.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's for Shelby. I love this part, the like curly vine here.
I don't know why I'm leaning closer.
Yeah. But it was a lot of color changes. I think I wasn't as excited about the fabric the more I did it, or the colors of the floss either. So this was like a 25/7. Like I was like, I am just gonna go until I get this done, and I finished it I think in March. So I'm very proud that it's done, and I learned a lot about like my stitching style while I was doing it over the past 2 years. And yeah, I'm glad that it's finished. It is a very beautiful pattern, and I'm happy that someone will enjoy it when it is eventually FO'd. Then I've shown before, some 310. I have a couple friends who I've made projects for in the past. They were my like pandemic, like survival, like trio. So one friend's birthday is coming up, in June, and we're all Chapel Roan fans in this house and beyond this home. These friends in particular, like that was something else that united us during those dark months of the 2020s. That's what this decade is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 20s?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the 20s. Yeah, the dark 20s.
Yeah, and so, like, I don't know, like, 2021, things were still pretty bleak, but we had Pink Pony Club, and then, now it's, like, it's
the real ones remember.
Yeah, and now it's exciting because, like, Chapel Roan is everywhere, and it's, like, a fun celebration, summertime vibe. I don't know. It's really cool. So, anyway, it's their birthday coming up, and so I looked up a pattern, or, like, a typeface, and then I charted that. Good Luck Babe, the latest single. And then I just, like, made up a chain border. And this is a 36 count linen, also from Fortnite.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. We did a bookmaking club last year.
Class.
Class.
Whatever. Sorry.
I'm in the club. Were you not invited? Just kidding. I would love to make this the cover of a book. No promises. I might just give it to them like this and be like, it's a patch. Or like, pin it on your wall. Like, I'll trim these like little bits, but that was a recent finish. I did this in just like a few days. So I love stitching words.
That's so cute.
That's how I started stitching. I used to stitch quotes exclusively, and that's all I'll say about that.
Real ones also know that about that a little bit more. Okay, so then I was like, let's keep moving. I need something more my speed, or like want to try something else.
I think if we hold the pattern back far enough, because it's
gonna hold this
so tiny there.
Yeah, I know. We were at a local stitching shop, perusing. That has like a small cross stitch section, and we're perusing that, and they had a bunch of kits, and I was like, ooh, let me get a kit, because at that point, I was like, I am like just taking things from your stash or being like, do you have this color? Which I still am doing.
It's so fun. I love to get things up.
But I was excited to have a kit because I'm like, ooh, I get like a free needle out of this. It's not free, but you know what I mean. I was like, ooh, it comes with a hoop and fabric, and I wanted to try this out. So this is one of the Innocent Bones like tarot collection kits. You can see very teeny tiny. It's the High Priestess is the card. It's based on I think Innocent Bones, like her designs are super cute and brightly colored, which I think was what drew me to it. And I learned a lot from this piece. Yeah, I'm like it's on DMC on 18 count, maybe.
Looks like 18 or 24 count.
Yeah.
2 over 1?
Yes. Yeah, 2 strands over 1. And like is very like that's like a full coverage card, the card part. So this one, took me longer. This was like my longer term piece for a while there. And it was really fun. I love the pinks and the greens like together, like the dark, like that dark forest green is one of my favorite colors, and the bright like magenta-y hot pink. Excuse me, let me retrieve a Reva.
Speaking of Reva, I don't know if we can cut this out if you don't want to mention it, but this I think was sort of like a therapeutic piece for you. I don't.
Yeah,
you want to share?
Reva. At the end of March, I was still working on this, but so most of March I think I worked on that piece. Part of February probably too. But Reba herniated a disc in her back and needed emergency surgery because she was suddenly paralyzed in her back legs, and then she was in the vet hospital for a couple of nights. We gotta hold her horizontally now. Yeah, be very careful. That's her.
It's her bravery badge.
Her bravery badge.
Oh. They had to shape her and do surgery, but it's
all healed up.
Back.
Yeah, her first coming back in. It's all healed up, but things were really touch and go that first weekend, and we weren't sure what life was gonna look like after that and how she was gonna do. And so that whole weekend I was stitching on that High Priestess card, and it was that was that holds for a while. I was like, I don't want to look at that, but then it ended up being something I've like hung on her little crate since then. It's just been clipped to it since she came home. And during when I like couldn't like I was like trying to watch TV. I think I tried to play like a game. I think I like tried to play Stardew Valley or something. I was like, I can't even do this. I need to be like so very even more focused on something. So cross stitch I found is really helpful for that. For like completely, it's very meditative in that way. For me, where I'm like, I have to focus on this piece. There's all these color changes. That's counting. Like I have to think about it as I'm doing it. And that was really helpful. And it just felt like I was like holding vigil and stitching this and had a candle lit and like sort of like trying to put energy into the universe that she was going to be okay.
Yeah.
So.
And she's fine. She isn't walking all the way, but she's so strong in her front, and she can stand up all by herself now. We're going to start working on getting the back legs to do stuff, but you said she took 2 steps today?
Yeah,
maybe?
She took a couple steps. Her back legs are moving more and more. She's regained feeling in them, and she's started physical therapy a week or 2 ago. Goes again this week. It's a very wild ride. If you have a young and active and curious and troublemaking pet, please get pet insurance if it is in your budget.
Yes.
It is likely cheaper than you think, especially for a younger dog or cat.
Yeah.
It's worth it if they do something like this, or if something like this happens. So, yeah. Anyway, I am now looking to become a spokesperson for pet insurance, which I sort of thought was a scam for a while, but
it turned out to be very much worth your while.
Yes. Anyway, so that was
number 4.
what was going on there. This other piece, I actually may have done this before. It was while I was working on the High Priest, because that was like over a month or so. And then, so this was just something I stitched while we were watching American Fiction leading up to the Oscars. So this was March. I'm remembering now. Okay. So this is just, it's like a piece of a small pattern that was in a free booklet that Tatrice and T published on her website. So it's just like a small Palestinian flag motif. It's like it's like a booklet of patterns that by her, and I think some others that she works with put together that are all like around, like related to themes of resistance and Palestinian history of resistance. So I thought I'd stitch this little guy. It was just like also like, you know, quick and easy. Obviously it's a flag, so just color blocks, and was really cool. Yeah, I love this gold that I think I just pulled from something you had. And yeah, it was just nice. This also has been clipped to Reba's crate, so it's been like the tarot card, Palestinian flag, just really, you know, trying to decorate her recovery suite.
Yeah, it's like a pen that goes around the living room.
Yeah, so we've been clipping photos and finished pieces.
She's got a keffiyeh on it.
Yes, there's a keffiyeh on it. The blue flower piece was on there for a while. Our Christmas card,
yep.
Like it's been, just
decked out.
Yeah, trying to keep it fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to put her on the ground, or is she?
Well, I picked her up because she was getting squirrely.
Squirrely?
Yeah, if she gets squirrely again, I'll put her back down.
Okay, cool.
But I don't have any more finishes, but you do. But I can talk about whips if you need a break. I don't know.
Yeah, do you want to talk about, I feel like these are all like...
They're kind of all related. So I could do...
Yeah, you want to do
sure.
a whip or two?
Yeah. I could do that.
I was like, we're going to finish this in 15 minutes. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, I actually didn't have a time estimate. I'm enjoying this, though. I hope you are, too. Yeah. So, I started...
Ooh, this guy.
Oh, my God. So, this is Ink Circle's Quaker Floral Puzzle. I don't remember where I saw this, but I remember seeing it in 2020 and being like, oh, I get it. That's why people buy patterns. Because for a while, I was, like, making my own with, like, the quotes and things, and then I did like a large sampler that I designed using the free patterns from the DMC website and stuff like that. And I was like, why would I just didn't understand. And then I saw this one and I was like, oh, I want to do that. But then I was like, okay, I can't start with something like this. So I believe I started this in January of this year. I actually didn't write it down, which is not like me. But I'm wondering if it was a new year, new start. Maybe. I don't know.
I think it was.
Yeah. January 1st.
You did something on January 1st. It was before my stitching journey really began.
Yeah. But I had it like completely kitted up. Like I asked for this for Christmas in 2020. It's the 30. Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm gonna have it like ready for when I'm ready. It's a 36 count charcoal. I forget the brand. I don't know why I started. This is like what I would consider the top of the fabric. I started down here, whatever. 36 count linen, and I'm doing it 1/2 with the called for DMC. I actually,
so pretty.
Yeah, Nithya stitches, and many other people do, 2/2 on 36 count, and I was like, ooh, I don't think that's for me. I'm not ready for that. She sent me these beautiful sunflowers she had stitched on 36 count, and it's like very full and plump and and I was like, okay, maybe this will be the time, like I'm gonna do it. But then I started stitching 2/2 on this, and I was like, no, like I like it to be a little bit more faded and like chalkboardy. You might be able to tell you'd put it down for a while, and so these two flowers look a little different because I accidentally did do this one 2/2. And so I'm glad I did, because then I'd have like a reminder like, no, I like this a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like it too. It's more your style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to go for like more prim, neutral stuff. I love the stuff Shelby does. Like I like how it looks. So I enjoy that we have like different styles, because it's fun to see lots of different projects and patterns. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you do. How many do you have?
1, 2, I have 4 more.
Oh, okay. Let's do one more.
Cool.
If you want.
Yeah. This is something I showed in my whip parade. It's by Thistles. It's called Star Village. I love the stars on it. And it's on, I believe this is a 32, this looks like a 32 count linen. I picked it up again recently, just to get some progress on it, and I think I worked on like this house. Everything on here except the green is blends. This calls for gentle art, and there is a DMC conversion, but I'm finding with a lot of the projects, as you'll see, there's a discrepancy in my eyes from what I see like on the pattern versus like the colors that's called for, even if it's like called for like patterns in DMC. I'm stitching in DMC. It's a recent pattern. Dye lots haven't changed. Photography just distorts the colors so much sometimes. So I'm like using that as a guide, the pattern, but then I'm just making my own blends with the DMCs I have on hand. And that's been actually really fun to try and figure it out. And then they kind of, depending on the color combo, it can look like a fancy floss, which is also fun. Like,
should we have turned the light on in here? I was like, oops.
No, we've got all this natural light coming in.
I was like, can the people see?
I don't know. Can you guys see? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Can you see?
Yeah, that's our...
We had the lens cap on the whole time.
Yeah.
I would listen to this. This is fun. So that's 2/2 on 32 count. Oh, here's where my pink forbidden... I was looking for this over-dyed pink recently.
Show off your new Bagoo pouch.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't really have, like, project bags. I just keep it usually, like, in the bag that the pattern's in. But the knitting shop that I work at occasionally, and where I get an employee discount, and that has sales on occasion as well, on top of that, recently started carrying Bagoo bags, and they had this, like, 3-pouch set. This is the mid-size one. It came with, like, a large one that can fit, like, a 15-inch laptop, and then a little one that's kind of like a wallet size, which I think I was keeping this in there, along with a D's 20 Stitches pattern that I would like to finish this year. Anyway, this it's so nice to have a project bag for this one finally, the Star Village, because there's a lot of floss and it's a very big piece of fabric. I could cut it, but I don't want to do that yet. So it's nice to have a project bag. Wow. Yeah, I could do you want me to do one more? Or you feeling like you want to pick up?
Yeah, you do one more.
Okay. Then I have, this is another one that I saw a long time ago and was like, ooh, yes. So this is called Quaker Goes Haunted, and it's by Michelle Inc. So yeah, a lot of Quakers going on in my life right now. I don't know if I'd done any before, but this one I'm also just using what I have in stash. I'm using a lot of like overdyes, but not necessarily the called for ones. This is a 30, do I have it on here? 32 count Kunzite from Fiber on a Whim. It is.
It is. It's true.
And this is what I have. Ooh, it looks good.
It looks really good.
I haven't worked on this for a minute. I think I started this in March as well. But I, again, am just kind of looking at the pattern and picking, like, colors that I think will work. This is a mix of, I think, like, one of the DMC's, is it 3799, 3371, the like dark brown, that's on all the Prairie Schoolers, and a Forbidden Fiber one. So I like mixed them together, so it's like a very subtle variation, and it like darkened up the other one. These greens are the same fancy floss, but one is 2/2, thank you, and one is 1/2, so like you can see the difference. Same with this, like this green, and I think this green, like that's 2/2, that's 1/2. So it's fun to just see like how things can change with just that slight difference, and also how much freaking floss 2/2 on 32 count eats up if you're using fancy floss. That's also why I switched. And I was feeling like, oh my god, there's a needle in this. I've never done that before. Whoa, I'm in trouble. With myself.
Not from me.
No.
I have a small needle losing problem. That is proven contentious.
So this is the motif I started with, and because it's a blend, it's 2/2. I couldn't do 1/2 because I was using 2 flosses. So I was like, oh, I'll do the whole thing in 2/2. And then I didn't like how like vibrant this one was. I was like so upset that
Well, I'm like, I love it.
Right. And so then I switched to 1/2 and I was like, oh, I like that more. So then I was like, oh, this will just be like a spot sampler for fancy floss, and then I'll just see how it's different when I do like 2/2 versus 1/2, and that's how I talk myself down from
It was getting pretty dark there for a minute. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it.
I don't want to go back to that place.
Watch out for that needle.
I know. I'm folding it in. I do remember that I did store this in here because anyway, all right. Fold it up nice.
No, I think it makes sense though, because it's like a cemetery and it's like old. Yeah, I like that it's more faded.
I like the faded look with it. So, but I'm yeah, it's a spot sampler now.
Cool.
All right. Do you want to do some?
Yeah,
I have 2 left.
I have a few finishes left. So, then I'm like trying to put this into a narrative, but I'll just go. So this one is a pattern that I don't know if it has a name. I'm sure it has a name I do not have, but it is available on Patreon from Beast or God, who I don't know if they were like, I saw some other cross like reposts that one of their patterns are like was suggested to me by the algorithm, because now Instagram knows I'm into cross stitch, so it's like a whole whole new ball game in terms of that. I know, Reba, it's like a mess. But I saw maybe this or a similar pattern, and then was like, I'm giving this person money for a few months to like see all these patterns and to explore. So, here it is. I've just been calling it chairs in my notes. I think I worked on this in March and April, like end of March. This was like post Reba's surgery. We've also, part of this reason I've like had all these smaller finishes because I had a lot of time inside with Reba while she's recovering. So really good time to start stitching. But I am in love with this one. I just love it so much. Yeah. I want to frame it, or even like in this hoop, finish it off and like
I want to marry it.
Okay. Like I just love it so much. Yeah, it's like my taste to a T, in some way. I mean, not in every, but like, yeah, like I just like makes me happy to look at it. I've just have it on a shelf in the living room right now.
This is like one of my favorite ones you've done.
Yeah.
And it's the oatmeal Ada.
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
Yes. So, and this is when I was like, you know what? Well, and Bistro like suggests oatmeal Ada. I think all of their patterns are like model stitched on 18 count oatmeal Ada. So I was like, let's go to Michael's. And this is just like a Charles Craft, like what I've now learned is like cheap oatmeal Ada, but I think it's good, and I have a whole roll of it, so I've been using it for stuff, and I like it. I like the way it looks. I was like, ooh, now I'm like, I don't know.
Are you a fabric snob now?
No, but I just in terms of like colors, I was like, I don't want to stitch on white.
Your preferences have evolved.
Yeah, I think, or not. I mean, not for. Especially with something like this. So
yeah.
I love it. It's 4 colors in DMC, and it's just like these beautiful blues and browns. And it's just sort of like mirrored. And I love these roots and these flowers. It is just like, sorry, I'm just like being like, I like it. I'm amazing. But I didn't design it. So, but, I just love this one so much.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that was, and that's 2/1 on Ada. And then I did another Beast or God pattern, and this was my first even weave experience, my first Lugana. This is a fabric from, I've been calling this one Scorpion, because I also don't know what it's called, but it's also from Beast or God's Patreon. So it's a beautiful scorpion, and yes, there's chocolate on it. As I said, I'm working on that part. It's just a piece of fuzz. So this was fabric. You brought me a few even weaves to try out, because I was like, I think I would like that, and this was my first, like, 2/2, first even weave.
And it's 32 counts. So
32 count.
I was like, okay, that's
yeah
bigger than 18 count Ada.
Do you know what this fabric is? Like,
yeah, it's a Fortnite fabric from my Fabric of the Month club from a few years. All my Luganos from that, I believe. Yeah,
so I love this one. In the pattern, it's like the center. You also notice, turns out there's a lot of eyeballs on the patterns I've been choosing. Carlie's mom pointed that out, and I was like, oh, I guess there are. So yeah, in the pattern, this, like, the center of the, like, star motif and then the scorpion eyeball was a blue. And so I was like, I want to do a different color, just because I had done a pattern with a lot of blue. So I chose this purple. I think just, like, by looking through stuff we both had. The gold, I love it. I think now I'm like, it's great, whatever. But while I was doing it, I was, like, getting frustrated by the coverage of the 310. But I know I was being negative earlier, but it has its place. I like the way it looks when it's done. Once you step away from something and, like, look at it from a normal distance, it looks good. I think I like the stringiness and the fluffiness as you're going, and, like, I just really like the, like, a fuller coverage, not, like, in terms of the pattern, but in terms of, like, the X's themselves. But I just think this one's really cute, and it was, again, a learning experience. I think I had to frog. This star is, maybe not deceptively, like, I frogged that, like, twice, or different corners twice. And so that was helpful learning. And yeah, just learning how to do 2/2 and the level of attention. And also light that takes. I think, something I didn't say in, like, the first month or two, of cross-stitching in general, I got horrible headaches, because I don't think my eyes were used to looking that closely, and also I don't think I was using enough light. So I've amended that, and then also my eyes have adapted. I think also I'm using a lot more light.
Yeah.
Moved a desk lamp from here next to the couch where I'm primarily stitching. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I need a different sitting situation because my body will break down long term from this. It seems like a low impact activity, but
it gets physical.
think I'm going to develop multiple chronic illnesses from it. So
yay!
Yay! No, it's fine.
But just to recap, so this was January. And this was, like, April?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then this one, I saw on Instagram. I think it was either suggested to me, or maybe it was Cam the Stitcher or someone in that crew. Sorry, those are, like, I love watching
She calls them the alt girlies.
I know, which I don't know why. I'm sorry.
It's not a slur.
No, it's not a slur. I was like, they're fun, and, like,
Cam was called Blue Hair Girl in our home.
I don't know if her hair was ever blue. No. I'm sorry, but I was like,
I got the vibe.
They're all fun, and, like, I was like, I love, like,
That's who we watched together, is Cam and Marjorie.
We watched Cam and Marjorie. I was like, I love the young queer people.
Like, we didn't have that in my day when I started FlossTube.
So I think it was one of them on Instagram maybe reposted this pattern, or it was someone else. But I encountered this designer, Nathnolu. Probably I'm not pronouncing it, but, like, that's the name of her sort of pattern company. Nathnoulu.
We can link it.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't need to spell every word I say. Sorry. No, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm trying not to apologize as much. But she has cute patterns, has an Etsy shop. But this one, I was like, I must stitch this floral chicken. Excuse me, the pattern name is Floral Hen, but I've just been calling it my floral chicken. But it is so cute. I didn't think I was going to be someone that stitched chickens. But then I did it and was like, uh-oh, I love a chicken.
Well, one of the patterns we both really like from the Artsy Huswife Shelby has been calling that egg lady, but
yeah, coffee and eggs.
Yeah, she knows it now. But that's got chickens on it. Does it have chickens or does it just have eggs?
It has a chicken.
Okay, yeah. So like this was not that surprising.
Look how cute it is. There's flowers on the chicken. Turns out I just like flowers and birds like everybody else. I thought I was so unique. But also this one, just the colors, and I'm like, you can't even like see how vibrant it is, but it's so beautiful.
Well,
yeah.
If we tilt it a little bit. If somebody wanted to look at this, like, perhaps in photographic form, is there a place they could do that? Or will there be a place?
I created an Instagram for my stitching, and I haven't posted anything yet. But my current username is Go Off Grandma. Partly I was like, for a month I've been like, what should my name be? Because I was like, it can't just be Shelby Stitcher or whatever, which is totally normal, and that's like what everybody does. And,
I think there's already a Shelby Stitcher.
That's the thing. There's already like, I wanted something, and then I posted something about like on my normal Instagram about it's not worth explaining, but I was like, look at me, like I'm cross stitching, go off grandma. And so it's go_off_grandma for now. That probably will change, and maybe I'll post something, but give me a follow. Maybe I'll post something before we upload this so you're not following an empty page for no reason. But anyway, this is my chicken. It's so cute. I want to frame this and give it to my mom.
You just did such a good job.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Ugh. This one is also a Lugana.
Yep. 32
from
count.
Carlie's stash, 2/2.
Looks like it.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, this is like looking. I'm like, I don't know that I'm like, do I want this in my house? But no. So I think my mom, she already saw me stitching it, so she'll like it.
Yeah. You can take it. All right. I've got 2 more whips, and then Shelby's got some whips. I was getting, as you can imagine, finish envy from...
Is that what was happening? I didn't realize.
Oh my god. Because I have all these large projects, and I was like, okay, she's cranked out another one. I want to finish one too.
They've all been fairly small, though.
Yeah. So I want... And I have, like, a lot of digital patterns that I keep forgetting I have because I'm not, like, looking at them regularly. So this is one I wanted to stitch specifically on this fabric for a long time, and I just wanted to use stash floss. So this is Sailor's Delight from Dee's 20 Stitches, designed by Dee and Carlie, and it's a 36 count linen from Fortnite. We learned from watching Knitting Nurse Jasmine's channel the other night that of course May has like a gazillion sals and themes, but May was one that I was not aware of, so I was like, okay, cool, I'm participating in something.
Yeah.
We also learned in that video that Fortnite Fabric is no longer making fabric, so I was like, wow, great combo.
We're eating at fabric now.
I don't know, these clubs were like, that's what I have most of my fabric is from. So anyway, this is a trans merman. I'm going to put the scars in last is my plan. I don't know why, because it's backstitched and I don't want to mess that up while I'm stitching. But this is fun. The dark blue is like a prism, which is one of that like big pack you can get at Michael's for friendship bracelets. And then the lighter blue and the orange are from my guild meeting I went to where we were trading materials, and that was in like the gift to me. And they were on bobbins. Oh, I can show you. They're around here. I wrapped them all up together, but like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these ever, because they're not like full skeins. So this is perfect. I already used up all of the orange. This is from Shelby's chicken, this orange, which I'm gonna do the rest of the orange in, so they're gonna be slightly tonally different. But then yeah, like this blue I've just about used up, so it's nice to like finish things and have a little pattern to show for it. So this is a very light blue, which is not super clear, but I had set this piece aside like when I purchased this pattern a few years ago for that purpose. My last whip, you haven't seen this one. This is my stitching at my house piece because I have an IKEA clip-on lamp, which I would like to get us 2 or 3 so we can clip them around the couch.
Yes.
It's just like a clip-on wiry, like you can bend it, and I can stitch so easily with it. So this is a dark fabric. I think this is probably the darkest I can go right now in terms of my eyesight. But this is when I tried starting in 2021 on a much darker fabric, and I didn't like how it looked. The fabric is like a little too mottled for my preference. But it's called New England Saint Nick by the Good Huswife.
Okay, go off, Santa.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's on a black, which I have stitched on black before. Didn't care for it. So as much as I do tend to go for patterns that are on like darker fabric, and then I start stitching and I'm about to stitch and I'm like, oh, I don't actually like stitching on dark. But what I'm doing for this is, again, making my own blends, because it calls for NPI silks, and there is a DMC conversion, but it's also from like the early 2000s, I believe. So dye lots would have changed regardless. So this is a 32 count 18th century blackbird linen from R&R Reproductions. One time I accidentally found myself at Hobby House Needleworks. Didn't know it was there. Turned the corner when I was at a bachelorette party, a bridal shower, and I stepped away for a bit and rounded the corner and was like, no way! And so I got a lot of fabric there. So this is what I have so far, just the outline of Saint Nick and the star. And I love it. I love stitching on it. It's so much more enjoyable this time around. And I'm excited to continue working on it. I really am enjoying making the blends for it. So, yeah, those are all my whips and all my finishes.
Where's your Poe piece?
Oh, I am missing one. You want to talk about your stuff and I'll go get that?
Yeah, sure. Up until, I guess now, and then that one point where I did like that small Palestinian flag one, I have been... Oh, there's just now garbage in the back. Hey, everyone. I had been just in stitching one pattern at a time. I think that's something that's changed for me too, and I gotta be careful with this, but I was like, why do people have so many whips at once? Why would you have, 30 whips? Like, isn't that, like, no wonder you haven't finished any. It's because you're working on so many. And then I've watched more FlossTube. I've also just, like, acquired more materials and patterns, and also, like, learned the craft a little bit better, and, like, it's coming more naturally to me. So I am understanding why you would want to, start a few at a time, have them, in the queue, and, like, be working on them. So as of now, I have 2 whips, and it may grow from there. And also something I'm embarking on is larger patterns, and that's definitely where it makes sense, I think, to have multiple whips, as I was doing a lot of smaller pieces before. So the first one, if I can find it, excuse me, we're just like surrounded by cross stitch detritus. So this is a pattern from Weekend Threads. She's a cool designer and stitcher who does a lot of like Tatrice inspired patterns. Follow her on Instagram. This is called Resistance Sampler. I'll share more on my Instagram that everyone's gonna follow now. But here is where I am so far. Over here it's like the motifs from the keffiyeh, and over here, and also some watermelons. Then there'll be like a coffee leaf motif. So yeah, it's like a cool Palestinian and Tatrice inspired piece. I do not know what I'm gonna do with it. Might like cut it out, stitch it, and like stick it on a tote bag, or make it into some sort of patch or something. I think would be cool, or like put it on a card for a friend or something. But yeah, it's really cool. It's a smaller guy, and I just wanted to have like a smaller piece, and to to work on this, especially. I think we all like in terms of like hope and despair, it ebbs and flows, and I think I was having a rough couple weeks in terms of despair, and I didn't want to be bringing that sort of energy to the spaces that I'm a part of. So I thought, I don't know, for some reason, just doing this piece has been really grounding for me. Yeah, it just felt good to celebrate resistance and celebrate like a cultural heritage and tradition that is so beautiful. So that's what I've been doing. I'll do my other one.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then the other piece of this that I mentioned was I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for something bigger, and I want something that I can't finish in a few weeks or, in a month. I want something that, like, I'm going to have to focus on for a longer period of time, and that, I started to see these bigger projects, and I was like, oh, okay, I actually think I'm ready for that, and I'm interested in it, and also it makes sense to, like, have a bigger piece I'm working on while I continue to maybe do, like, have smaller whips, but who knows, maybe I'll start a bunch of big ones. So the other piece of that is I was like, okay, I think I want to do a sampler, because I see the sampler girlies, and I'm like, first I was like, I don't know, and now I'm like, wait, that's cool. Again, like, the history and tradition behind it is really cool, and, so I'd been keeping an eye out for one that I liked, or that, like, felt like it was still my taste and my style, and then I, discovered, which I think was, like, everyone was doing and excited about, when it first came out, so, sorry I'm late to the party, but I just got here, literally, so I'm catching up, but this one, so I started, Thurza Priscilla Dawes by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, who is also on FlossTube, is
Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world.
Yeah, I was like, location in a location world, but she's great. Also enjoy her FlossTubes. It's like one that we've watched together, and then I was like, oh, what's that beautiful sampler behind her? And Carlie was like, that's like, she designed that based on a sampler that, like, an antique sampler she bought, and it's really beautiful, and there's multiple colorways. And I was like, tell me more. I see neon colors. Mm-hmm. So I have started this like 3 days ago, and I stitched on it just like for 2 nights. Here's my start, and here's one of my cute little needle minders that I'm also, here's my start. It's just the top left-hand corner. I'm starting in a corner this time, which I've also never done. I'm very nervous about it, but it's quite a large piece of fabric, and I think I'm going to be okay. Yeah. This is my little start. This one, it's been a project, because, like, kitting it up in itself is a project. This is a 32 count Zweigart, the Zweigart, like, Belfast linen and flax. Did I do it right? I was practicing earlier in my head. So that's what this fabric is from 123 Stitch. We did a big order. It's been nice to, like, we could do orders together, and then get that standard shipping. And then it's 36 colors, I believe. So I also had to obtain all those colors. I've been, like, slowly,
Here's your project bag.
Oh, here's the other. So I don't have any project bags. I've been using makeup bags, but I only have so many of those. So right now I have a project shoe box. It's a Tiva box also, which is gay. I can say that. So this is something. Oh, so this is. I have all the colors. I haven't figured out a storage solution for all of this floss, or all of my floss. It's starting to. I don't have that much yet, but it's starting to bother me, and that's coming. Anyway, so I have a shoebox right now, a small Tiva shoebox. Highly recommend, that I've been carrying around the house.
Look at these floss drops, though.
Oh, yeah, I also made those with some paper I had. So that was fun.
Yeah, and a ramen box.
Because
we now I'm recycling.
I'm looking. I said we believe in recycling. It's true, and I'm just looking for all thin cardboard now. So yeah, this is my project shoebox that I have right now because it's so cute.
And it holds all 36 of the colors, because that's a lot. I feel like I would prefer a box for something with that much floss.
I probably need some bags because it's sort of getting unwieldy, and I also need a solution, like a longer term solution for when I'm done with a project, and like where do I put all the floss? But I'm like, also, I'm not a bobbin person, I don't think. Is that just because Carlie isn't? But I also don't think I don't want to wind that stuff. I just like the little drops. So I envision expanding these pegboards eventually, but we're not there yet, and I'm trying not to spend too much money this early on in this hobby exploration. So
the benefit would be, though, like, if you got bored of this, I could have all your stuff.
That's so true. So that's the thing, is that's where I like also wasn't worried about being wasteful in terms of I'm like, well, if this ends up not being something I do long term, like I have someone to give it all to, like, just be like, here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's a Priscilla Dawes. It's beautiful colors as you saw. But y'all have seen it. I'm late. But I maybe got peanut butter on this already too. Don't know when I was eating peanut butter.
It wouldn't be a piece from you if it didn't have peanut butter on it.
No.
That's like, instead of signing it, you just put a smudge of peanut butter on it. So that's your maker's mark.
Sure is. So this is like not even like a quarter of one page out of like 4 pages. So it's less than that. It's a little start, but I'm excited about it, and it's 2/2. And it looks really cute so far, and I was like, oh, I'm doing bird motifs again, like I started with. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a marathon, not a sprint, as they say. So I'm trying to keep that in mind, that I don't need to like just do this 24/7. I'm also finding with such a big piece of fabric, and also like, this is my first time using linen. Also, I've been stitching in hand mostly. Mm-hmm. Carlie, you stitch in hand exclusively, basically. I've used a hoop a little bit, and like I have them. I found it helpful for different reasons, but with this project, and I think just like because it's such a big, like I can't get the tension right in my hands, holding it with such a big piece of fabric, especially at the edge of it, maybe later, but so I found that a hoop has been helpful so far. So I think I'll probably use a hoop for this project. I haven't and also it's just like really starting to get to my hands, like holding on to stuff, where I'm like, oh, it would be great to have a stand eventually, and then so maybe I should get used to a hoop, or I haven't tried a Q-snap or anything else yet, but
well, and you don't do the sewing method either, even though you stitch in hand, so you're already doing like the half stitches and then going back, so it doesn't really benefit you to do hand.
It doesn't. I just thought it's just easier. I don't like readjusting the hoop and stuff, because I'm like, I don't want to do something extra. And also I guess if you're stitching in hand, it's mostly because of the sewing method, apparently, or maybe not. I don't know.
So I've got one more whip, and then I think we're gonna finish up. This is the Master and the Macabre by the Quaker collection. I am stitching this. Oh, I love this fabric so much. It's a 36 count bramble linen by Seraphim. I've never worked with Seraphim before.
Beautiful.
I have a lot done. I worked on this a lot in March and April. And I'm using mostly the called for DMCs. There are some like these like drippy parts here, and these on the side of the house. It's silken colors, which I don't have and have never used. So I'm just using, this is like a DMC variations, and then the pink is almond M&Ms silk that I had, writer's chair. So I don't have very much left to go. I've got some words and some fill-in, and thank you, and then a little bit of backstitch, and then it'll be done. So yeah, I think while I was doing it, I think I prefer the colors that are on here. Like, this is like a lot brighter, but I'm more of a process and a product stitcher, so Reba, it's true.
That's okay, Reba.
That's everything I have. We did have on our, what did you call it? Not the agenda.
Our run of show.
Our run of show. To talk about a stitching shop, which is a local needle workshop, either in Denver or right outside Denver.
Denver.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
We can mention it. I think we have time.
Okay.
We saw it mentioned on Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World's FlossTube, and we've been planning it. We were going to go to Denver, and had tickets and everything, like, when we saw the video. So we're like, oh, well, we have to add that to our itinerary. So we were going to visit family, specifically going to a 1-year-old's birthday party. It was great.
Great.
So fun. And then, like, the one thing that we did where it was just us was we borrowed my cousin's car and drove, like, 40 minutes to go to the stitching shop.
A stitching shop.
A stitching shop. I had not been to one that big before. I've only been to, like, a handful of L&S's. One that was, like, specifically dedicated to cross-stitch. They did have needlepoint, but it was mostly cross-stitch. So what was your, like, impression and experience of being in that space?
It was wonderful. The employees were so sweet and, like, very attentive and, like, curious and, like, asked us a bunch of questions and, like, were, very kind. And they have like, I only really looked at patterns and, like, didn't do fabric or thread because I was like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed and I need to eat lunch because I was like, I'm gonna pass out and also spend too much money. But they just have like huge bins in alphabetical order of like each designer.
Very
so
very
just,
organized,
like, on the floor digging through stuff, which probably too aggressive, but
they kept being like, you guys can use these tables, but they were so heavy, so I was just like, it's just easier to sit on the floor and pull these bins out.
But that was a really fun afternoon, and like it was fun. I have mostly been buying digital patterns or like using free ones, so it was cool to pick up a couple physical patterns. Paper patterns is what you say. And I think just in terms of like plans, I bought a few, but some of them are elsewhere. But I have this pink barn by the artsy Huswife, and that might be next on deck because apparently I love to stitch a chicken, and there's a little chicken up there. It's pink. And so, I am considering this, which I know I said I would do small, simple stuff while I did Thursday, but whatever. All bets are off. I want to make it more pink is sort of my plan as I start to like mess around with colors more. So that's in the works. But so it was like fun. They had, new releases from Nashville this year, and then like huge like selection of patterns like going back years from many different designers. So it was really fun.
So if you're in the Denver area, a stitching shop, highly recommend. Okay, so I think that's everything we have. Thanks for watching. I would love to name this segment, or like, depending on how things go, rename this channel if we end up doing stuff together all the time. But I don't know what to call it. So if you have any suggestions, so like a play on 2/2 would be fun. I don't know.
Carlie's really been workshopping name ideas.
I also have fem and them stitches, but that was not allowed. So if you have any ideas, let us know in the comments. And that's everything. Happy there's no holidays coming up that are
Memorial Day is next week, I believe.
Happy 3-day weekend.
Everybody enjoy a day off. I hope you get a day off. We all deserve days off.
Definitely.
We all deserve at least a 4-day work week. Probably less. Okay, bye. Thanks for having me. Testing 1, 2, 3.
This is the whole video. Do you need me to film you with? It's a lot of pressure being a star. Oh, nice. Hey everyone, I'm Carlie. My pronouns are they, them, and this is my FlossTube. Today, I'm joined by a special guest who's feeling really warm.
Doing really well. This is great. Can we start over again?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna try something. Because Reba doesn't like it when we talk to the box. Hi, I'm Carlie.